What is going on, everybody? This is Julian Keifetz. I'm joined by my co-hosts Dan Beairsto, Spencer Davis, and Aaron Jaffe. And this is Kane's Take week 4. Let's get right into it without further ado. Let's get right into the NBA Western Conference contenders, guys. What are we thinking about? We have a lot of key teams in the Western Conference. Dan, what do you think about who's looking good right now?
So it's tough because the Suns they're the best team in the league right now record-wise. They continue to win with the supporting cast with Chris Paul and Devin Booker missing games. They have the edge right now, but I think it might have some difficulty if they are a 1 seed go in that first series, if they get a bad draw to have Chris Paul coming back from injury right away. I think they should be fine. The Warriors have started to fall off a little bit with Draymond Green out. I think his return is going to be huge, but I think it's a two-team race between those two teams.
A big game between the Suns and Heat tonight here in Miami. And Spencer and Aaron, what do you guys think? What are you guys thinking about this matchup tonight?
To be honest,
it's all you.
I think the Suns are going to take it. I think looking at them just holistically in the Western Conference, I think they're probably the strongest team there is right now, given what the Warriors have looked like recently. I was much higher on them, to be honest, at the beginning of the year, but I think they need Clay to find some consistency, and then Curry's got to obviously be doing what he was doing at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And I think the Grizzlies is another team that we have to look at as well. That young core of Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr., something that the Lakers don't have, by the way.
Well, Spencer, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say about that matchup tonight. I think the Suns are really good. Obviously, Devin Booker is that guy. But they've lost 3 of 6. I think the Heat are going to win this one. The team I'm looking at in the West is the Nuggets. The Nuggets have won 9 of 10 and 12 of 13. Jokic had back-to-back triple-doubles the other day in 2 back-to-back games. They're sitting in 6 right now, so not too hot, but they'll be in the playoffs, and I think they might make a push, upset one of the top 3 seeds.
Well, the Nuggets are the 6th seed, but look, they're playing 600 basketball right now. So, I mean, look, you've a lot. I mean, the Suns are clearly running away with that Western Conference, 8 games ahead of the number 2 Memphis Grizzlies. But I mean, this is a Western Conference that's stacked as usual. And you know, when you have your 6th seed at 6 playing 600 basketball, your 7th seed, the Minnesota Timberwolves playing 561. I mean, this Western Conference is. The Suns are clearly the dominant force, but this is, it's ripe for the taking. It's anybody's conference right now.
Back to what Spencer was saying about the Nuggets. If they do get Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back in playoff time like they are projected to get, I think then you really do got to respect them as a serious contender. However, if one of those 2 guys aren't able to be at full health come April, it's going to be tough for Jokic to dish out some playoff baskets to Facundo Campazzo and Aaron Gordon. But we'll see. They're doing it all year.
Well, speaking of the Western Conference, it's the fall of the mighty over there in Los Angeles for the Lakers. Guys, what can the Lakers do to get back on track this season and for the future?
I don't know, man. I mean, they're 7-16 in their last 23. They were 21-20 at one point. They were over 500. Almost halfway into the season, 41 games into the year. So I don't know, man. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. LeBron's doing everything he can. Year 17, just playing like an absolute animal. Russ is falling apart. The whole team's kind of falling apart. That Russ trade will maybe go down as one of the worst trades, and I don't know, maybe NBA history.
On that, Spencer, I mean, I think you also have to look at these big NBA teams and kind of question the way they're building. I mean, look at the Nets' big 3. Adding Westbrook, an old player, to AD and LeBron. I can't understand why they did it. And when I compare them to a team like the Grizzlies in the Western Conference who have that youth culture. Ja Morant, he's such a humble player. They play team basketball. When players are closer in skill on a team, they tend to play better basketball. I think last year you even saw that with the Bucks. I mean, they have Giannis as a star, but everyone on that team can play. The Raptors, when they won, Heat have been good now, but yeah, adding that third piece in Westbrook, I don't think it was the right move, and they need to freshen things up in Los Angeles, or else LeBron can't do it himself anymore.
Right. And LeBron, I mean, he's still playing incredible basketball. I mean, he had a 56 the other night against the 2 seed in the West. I mean, the thing is, though, is that LeBron does love playing with his guys, and that's fun and all. But when your guys are starting to get up there in age and they can't score 20 points to save their life, it's gonna affect the team. I mean, Westbrook. I mean, what is there to say about him at this point that hasn't already been said? I mean,
I feel bad for us.
Yeah, he's gone this offseason. And for the Lakers' future in the long run, I mean, there's no real young talent on that team at all that you can really build around once LeBron leaves. And Anthony Davis is continuing to have injury bugs throughout his entire Lakers stint. I mean, it's tough to see where this team can go if LeBron does end up leaving in the near future.
I mean, on the topic of young talent, they traded away. I know a lot of people weren't hot on him, but Kuzma's averaging 25 in his last 5 games. He dropped 34 and 36 in back-to-back nights for the Wizards. I mean,
he's inconsistent, Kuzma.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he's been playing well this season, and it's just like if you never know what he could have done with Bron on this team.
He's playing better than the guy they traded him for.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Lakers, I mean, I think one thing I have to point out, I don't have the basketball acumen that some of you guys have, but just from this point in the season, the Lakers just seem like a team of the past. I mean, this would be a super team if they were playing 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, you've, of course, LeBron James playing out of his mind as usual, but Russ, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard, this just seems like a team of the past that has no real future right now or down the road. And, when things are not good when you're being outshined by the LA Clippers. In 2022.
Also, I have to say, LeBron on the court, he's obviously carrying this team, but I'm not so sure about the way he's leading it. I saw after he dropped 33, I think it was against the Jazz when they won a couple weeks ago, 106-101. The first person he went to after the game was Aaron Donald, and dapped him up. Like I think there's not like a focus in Los Angeles right now to play basketball, and that's ultimately going to cost them. And they, like you said, Julian, they can't keep living in the past.
It was 2012, this would be a hell of a team, but it's 10 years later. It's tough. I mean, it's really like I don't want to put too much blame on LeBron, the player. I'll put it all on LeBron, the general manager. But I mean, it's tough to see like this, and I don't see them making any noise. They're closer to being the 12th seed in the West than the 8th seed at this point.
Yeah,
they have a lot of ground to cover. Well, let's transition topics now. Let's get into some big moves out of the NFL. 3 huge moves involving quarterbacks over less than 48 hours at this point. Guys, let's start with the biggest one: Russell Wilson to the Broncos. What does this mean for the AFC West and the AFC in general?
I mean, as Jerry Jeudy tweeted as soon as he found out, we lit. I mean, the Broncos are going to be nasty next year. That's all. That's it. That's all there is to it.
I agree. Piece. They're going to be better, but do we really think they're better than the Chiefs? Absolutely not. Do we think they're better than the Chargers? I'm not convinced. I don't think so. And I think they're going to finish 3rd in this division.
It's going to be tough to see. I think the Chiefs still take the division. I mean, they're too good of a team. They've been there for so long. Russell Wilson's great. He's not Patrick Mahomes. I think the Chiefs will be first. The Broncos, though, with Wilson, they actually had a really good defense the past couple of years. They have a lot of young talent on there. They were like the 3rd best team in points allowed last season. So you have that. You got some good playmakers. I would very well see them being a wild card in the AFC playoffs. And if they get a couple draws, I can't see why this team can't win a playoff game or 2.
I mean, about that defense, I think they haven't figured out that pass rush, what they're going to do with that. And, their coach isn't Vic Fangio anymore, who's an unbelievable defensive mind, and I don't think the defense is going to do what it's done in recent years, and they're going to focus this free agency on probably offensive line. So I think that defense is going to get weaker.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Chubb's pretty good, and Von Miller's been teasing that coming back as well recently. So you never know.
That would be crazy.
I think he'll stay another year with the Rams. What do we think?
Yeah, I think he'll probably stay with the Rams, but it'd be cool because the the Broncos haven't made the playoffs since they won with Von Miller and Peyton Manning. So it'd be cool to see him come back. Just wait for another big quarterback to come back and win another title in Denver.
He deserves after seasons with Trevor Siemian.
I think the Broncos, I really do think this Russell Wilson move makes them so much more formidable. I mean, this is a PFF week 17. PFF rated them a tier 1 top 5 defense. I think they just found their missing piece. I mean, you have an elite young receiver core. You've got some great talent on both sides of the football. And I think the one key piece that they were missing was the most important position in football. That's your quarterback. I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers is one of the best. We'll get into him in a minute, but he's one of the greatest of all time. But Russell Wilson's a Super Bowl champion. And I think the Broncos just filled in the missing piece. And I think the Chargers, Chiefs, and Raiders should all be sweating bullets right now.
Is this the best division in football?
Oh yeah, it's got to be now.
It is. It has to be.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got Mahomes, Herbert, Wilson, and Carr in the same division.
Yeah.
Those are your four starting quarterbacks.
Raiders also starting a new era with Josh McDaniels. I think you can't count them out either.
Yeah, they're a good team. I mean, they made the playoffs for a reason last year and actually got in over the Chargers for a reason. It's just going to be tough to repeat it. They're going to have to improve their defense a lot.
Absolutely.
They want to keep up with these high-flying quarterbacks.
Well, the next big move I want to talk about was the initial big quarterback move. That was the bombshell. Aaron Rodgers, 4 years. What is it? $200 million with the Green Bay Packers, highest paid player in NFL history. Guys, what does this mean for the Packers' future? What does this mean for Aaron Rodgers' future?
I mean, Stephen A. said on First Take, I think, that so what? I mean, it's great. Rodgers deserves the money. We know he's the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. We know when he's on, they can win the Super Bowl. But I mean, it's just, can they do it? We're just gonna wait and watch, and he's gonna have his haters just waiting on the sidelines, ready to chomp at him, and he's gonna have to prove him wrong. I'm excited. I'm not trying to play it down. I'm excited for the season. It's gonna be great to see him play with Devontae Adams again. They're gonna franchise tag Devontae Adams, but I'm not a Packers fan. But if I was, I wouldn't get my hopes up. I'd be relieved right now, but I wouldn't be getting my hopes up. Just pray for a good season.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this always happens. Rodgers' last chance to get a ring with the Packers, and then re-signs. They're getting Adams back, and I think that the AFC is a lot stronger than the NFC right now. Brady leaving, Russell Wilson leaving. So I think they've got a good chance. I think it's a huge win for the Packers to get him back and to get Adams back.
Yeah. My initial reaction wasn't really Aaron Rodgers because, I mean, at a certain point, like, we know who he is. We know how great of a player he is. We kind of have a general idea how that Packers team's going to look with him and Devontae Adams back. My first reaction is wow, what a waste that Jordan Love pick was. What is he, like, I mean, you got to trade him, right? Like, at a certain point, you just kind of got to accept it's a wash. I mean, he hasn't looked good in preseason. He hasn't had good reports from people inside the camp. I mean, I was just talking about, like, Rodgers is right. I mean, they've wasted picks throughout his entire career to try to make this team better. I mean, it's a good team now. Don't get me wrong, but you couldn't flop much more than that.
And I think that Aaron made a good point. The NFC is wide open right now with Wilson leaving. I think the Rams are the next big contender to the Packers. But you know what? Spencer mentioned Aaron Rodgers' haters. I'm going to start it off right now. I think he's a great football player, but I do not think he's winning another ring outside of the one he has against the Steelers a decade ago. I think Rodgers he's going to get paid his money. He's going to be, when it's all said and done, he's going to be one of the best, if not the best, skill quarterback of all time. But I don't think he's winning another ring in Green Bay. And I think these 4 years, these are going to be the last 4 years we get to watch Aaron Rodgers play football. But you know what? He's getting paid, so more power to him.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be the last 4 years, but I don't know. I think especially this year, we were just saying it's wide open. If they can beat the Rams in the playoffs, I mean, I think they're at least going to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I mean, excuse me, Jesus. I just don't know who else is really going to pose a serious threat.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see. I mean, I wouldn't bet on them by any means to win the Super Bowl because, I mean, it's just at a certain point you got to look at some of his performances in the past. That 49ers game, I know it was in the snow, but at a certain point you got to put it on him for why that game didn't happen. I think Aaron Rodgers is an incredible quarterback. I have nothing about it. He has 4 MVPs for a reason, and he did look amazing in the Super Bowl that he did win. But at a certain point, it's tough to have faith at this point that he is going to get it together and the whole team's going to bring it together and win one soon enough.
Well, the last big quarterback move we have to talk about, let's get to it quickly. The Commanders have their quarterback. They have traded for the Colts for Carson Wentz, and they've sent their third-round picks in 2022 and 2023. Guys, what do we think about this trade? What do we think about the Commanders' new man under center? Spencer, let's start with you.
Let's see, I'm a
as
DC
a
fan here.
Yeah.
I'm not horribly mad at it, honestly. Like, I don't see it as a long-term fix, which Dan Snyder probably does because he's an absolute moron. But I don't see anything wrong with trading 2 third-round picks for him and seeing what he can do for us this year. And if he plays really well and connects with the O-line and connects with Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin, then great. We have a good season. Awesome. If he's garbage, we're back where we started. You know what I mean? I'm glad we didn't. I wanted Russ, but I'm glad we didn't get Rodgers, honestly, because we would have had to given away like Chase Young or something ridiculous. And I didn't want to do that. So I'm not mad at what we lost, but I'm also not super happy about what we got. I wanted Malik Willis with the 11th pick.
I mean, I'm gonna help you get a little bit of a reassurance because I'm actually happy with the deal. If I'm a fan of the Commanders, that's the first time I think I've said that, by the way. So basically, I think Russell Wilson, I'm not convinced he has his best days in him still, and you didn't give up a lot to get Wentz. So I think if he can stay healthy, which is a big what if, but I think why not give him a chance and wait and see, wait a few years to get your guy, because I don't think Russell Wilson or Rodgers were the guys given their age.
So I'm going to actually respond in a little harsher tone as you two. I think the move was stupid. At the end of the day, like, Wentz is better. Commander Carson, sorry. He might be a little bit better than Taylor. I mean, he's better than Taylor Heineke, but like, how much is your team improving going from Taylor Heineke to Carson Wentz? And you give up 2 third-round picks. You're a team that clearly – you got to figure it out. I thought of Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett, whoever they liked as their favorite quarterback from the draft. I still think they should do it. I still think they should take one first because it's obvious Wentz isn't a long-term answer. I mean, season on the line with – what was it, the most Pro Bowlers in the NFL, the Colts, the Jonathan Taylor, who was an NFL leading rusher, and he got destroyed by the Jaguars. Like, I don't know. He's too much of a mess up, and I don't know if there's this, like, Wentz already needs like kind of a protected environment, I feel like, to be good. And Washington and him just sounds like a very toxic relationship already.
I mean, I agree, honestly. I'm just trying to look at the bright side of things. I wanted Malik Willis so bad, dude. I think he has so much upside. I think, like, if Ron Rivera could really connect with him and, you know, get him a little bit better in the pocket, a little cleaner footwork. But I mean, he's just such an athlete. Like, who wouldn't want that? Right. On it? He's diet Lamar Jackson in my eyes. Like,
Yeah, and Spencer, it could be worse. I think my Giants are going to be. I think it's going to be the starting spot's going to be a battle between Daniel Jones and Mitch Trubisky next year.
I don't hate Mitch, man.
Carson Wentz is better than him.
Mitch might be behind center in Seattle after this. I mean,
oh
QB
yeah,
battle, that'd be Mitch versus Gino.
All right. Well, let's switch gears and talk about a little bit of college basketball. March Madness is right on the horizon, and let's get into a couple of the Power 5 tournaments. But first off, let's go with the Big 12. Who do we like in the Big 12, guys?
Give me Baylor. I know they're reigning champions from a year ago. They lost McKee Teague, Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell. They're kind of 3-star guys from a year ago. But they got 9 guys that are playing significant minutes, including vets from that played on that team a year ago. I like them. I think they got a good championship pedigree, and I think they take care of business, and they're used to this level of pressure of basketball. And I think that'll help at this point.
Give me the Jayhawks. Bill Self going to lead his team to this, I think, 15th or 16th Big 12 tournament. I could be wrong, but it's up there.
Yeah.
I don't know. The tournament's in Kansas City. Baylor's really good. It's going to be Baylor and Kansas in the final, I think. I like Texas Tech in the NCAA tournament, not the Big 12 tournament. They're the best defensive team in the country, but I think they'll lose to Baylor in the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament, and I think Kansas is going to pull it home.
I like the Jayhawks too, man. I think Bill Self, he's been here before. You know, the Kansas is here every year. The Jayhawks are here every year. You know, there's no reason to count them out. So give me the Jayhawks too.
I'm gonna tie it up at 2 too. I'm gonna side with Danny here. Go with Baylor.
Baylor's a great team. I mean, it'll be interesting if they both make the final. It'll be their 3rd game of the year. They split. They split the first 2. I don't know. I think it's between them though.
100%.
I mean,
I think Texas Tech also could make a run in the NCAA tourney.
Yeah, Texas Tech is the only team to beat Baylor twice all year.
And I like the point that you made about their defense. I think that is something that huge helps in the tournament. I mean, you see Syracuse with the zone every year. I mean, sometimes the best offense is strap defense, and Baylor had an incredible defense a year ago as well. 100%. So it sees it pays dividends.
And next, trying to leave our own biases aside, let's get into our school's conference. What do we think about the ACC tourney, guys?
Full bias.
Yeah.
No
Not
shame.
leaving my biases aside.
No shame.
Duke who? I don't even know. So now
right,
Wake Forest. What in the world? What did they do earlier today?
Wake Forest blows it to BC. College? We'll play BC in the second, third round, whatever it is. And Florida State got waxed by Syracuse. Waxed by Syracuse by like 40 points. So Syracuse plays Duke in New York. That'll be interesting if Syracuse can beat them.
That zone.
I don't want Syracuse to beat them. If you guys watched our games against Syracuse this year, we went down bad in the first half, both games, and barely won. I don't know if we can beat them in New York, dude. I'd rather take on Duke.
Who we did beat, by the way.
Who we did beat. I know that's such a hype statement. I don't mean that. I'd rather play Syracuse.
Yeah. We gotta do that though.
But I think Wake Forest killed their tournament chances today with that loss to BC. They were already on that last 4-ring bubble. All it takes is 1 or 2 conferences to have a conference win. I wasn't supposed to be in the tournament in the first place. I really just won, and they're probably out of there. Yeah. It'll be weird. It'll be cool to see. I mean, we're firmly in there. ACC championship or not, doesn't matter, because at the end of the night, we're cutting on those nets.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Boston College's win over Wake Forest is huge. Tomorrow night's going to be a huge game, but I think this is one that we have to win, and our time is right now.
Yeah, I think if we get this win, we're firmly cemented in the NCAA tournament. I mean, we should be a 9 or a 10 seed probably.
Yeah, I think already.
I don't really want an 8 seed. I don't feel like playing a 1 seed in the second round. So give me the 9 or the 10.
Give us anyone.
We'll sneak through there. Get to the Elite 8.
Absolutely. And
beat up on some blue bloods.
Speaking of Duke, just really quickly, guys. This is Coach K's last season, a wrap up on a legendary career. Just a few quick thoughts from everyone. What are we thinking?
He's a legend.
Yeah.
He's one of the best to ever do. I mean, it was kind of funny to see how he went out against UNC. I mean, he shouldn't have scheduled his last game. I mean, I guess in retrospect, but I mean, give him an easy win.
I mean, look what he said. The season's not over. In that speech, it's not over. They got both tourneys to play for. And I don't know. I think they are the team to beat in the ACC.
Yeah, jokes and Miami bias aside, Duke's ridiculous, and not just that Coach K is going to give them a good hype speech, but all those kids feel horrible about losing that game to UNC. So they're going to bring everything they can for Coach K in his last ACC tournament and NCAA tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how far they go.
All right, and wrapping up this week's show, guys, best bets. Spencer, let's start with you.
I got the Caps tonight over the Oilers. The game's actually just started. So let's see how that's going. You guys give me your bets while I check on this.
I got also tonight the Bucks -4.5 against the Hawks. 5-0 straight up in their last 5, 4-1 against the spread. Hawks 1-7 against the spread in their last 8 road games. I think Drew can lock up Trey, to be honest, and I don't think the Hawks will be able to stop Giannis tonight. And then my second one on Saturday, Tottenham moneyline versus Manchester United +250. Very big one between these two teams in the top 4 race. United have really struggled recently. We saw them collapse against City completely in that 4-1 loss. Likely going to be without Cristiano Ronaldo and Varane again. Spurs looking much better with kind of that preferred lineup of Antonio Conte's with Matt Doherty on the right and Kane playing so well right now. I think Conte's side will be too strong for United, and the top 4 race will become a 2-legged one between Spurs and Arsenal.
So I just got one best bet this week. It's actually going on right now. I believe they're tied in the first quarter. I got the Celtics -7 against the Hornets. The Hornets are on a back-to-back. I mean, they just gave up 50 a night ago. The Celtics have been red hot recently. I mean, they're going to continue to do great. I think -7 is a good spot here. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so sorry, I was just going to fill in.
Go right ahead, Spencer.
Caps +115 against the Oilers tonight. Game starts at 8. Looking for Ovechkin to break Jágr's third place. He's tied for third place all time with Jágr at 766 goals, scored 2 last night against the Flames. So looking to see him break that. And then also this weekend, UFC, I got Matt Semmelsberger repping Frederick, Maryland. Let's go. My boy, -340 against, what's his name? AJ something. I botched this. But,
Not a UFC guy.
You're going to smash him.
I'll help you.
AJ Fletcher, excuse me. There's AJ Fletcher, AJ Dobson, AJ Mitchell. There's too many of them. But yeah, Matt, Semi the Jedi, big win.
And then to wrap it up, my best bet of the week. Tomorrow night, Rangers play the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. I would take the Rangers in this one again. They were coming off just a week ago a win in the Garden against the Blues. I think Igor Shesterkin had the night off, and clearly that had a lot to do with the Rangers' loss to the Wild last night. But I think the Rangers are going to come into St. Louis confident, having beat them just a week ago. Rangers have more points and wins than the Blues. I think Igor Shesterkin shuts down the Blues. I think this is a better Blues offense generally with guys like Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas leading the way. But I think the Rangers do take this game by 1. I would stay away from I would bet against the puck line. I think this ends up being a 1-goal affair. And then for the over/under 5.5, I think this is going to be a low-scoring one. So I would take the under. And that about does it for Canes Takes Weeks 4. We'll be back. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you.